If you use Cloudflare's new CMS called EmDash, you can wake up one morning to a bill of $13,000 US dollars, and there is nothing built into the platform to stop it from happening. Nothing you can do. I'm not exaggerating. Someone did the math on the Cloudflare forum, and if you're talking about basic DDoS attack, 10,000 IPs, 1 request per second each, it will rack up to 26 billable requests in a month. And when people ask Cloudflare, can I set up a spending limit so this doesn't destroy me? The answer, going back yes, is no, you can't. There is no cap, there is no kill switch, your site keeps running. Workers keep firing and your credit cards keep getting charged. And that's just the beginning of what's wrong with the EmDash. Paid plan required for the main feature. Full vendor lock-in disguised as an open source zero plugin ecosystem built in 2 months with AI and yeah. Let me explain exactly how this billing problem works, because it's not obvious until you think about it. With traditional WordPress hosting, you pay a flat rate. $20 a month, $50 a month, I don't know, 100 bucks a month. Doesn't matter. If you get 10 visitors or 10 millions. Your server might slow down or crash on the load, but your bill stays the same. You know what you're paying. EmDash flips that completely. It's serverless. Every single page view, every admin panel click, every API, every interaction. That's a Cloudflare worker invocation. And workers bill you per request and per CPU milliseconds. The paid plan starts at $5 a month and includes 10 million requests. It's kinda a lot, but it's not. After that, you are paying 30 cents per additional million requests, plus CPU time charges on top. And it's not just workers. Every page render can also trigger D1 database reads, built per row, R2 storage operations, built per operation, KV lookups, built per read and write. If you don't know what I'm talking about, think like this is how Cloudflare working. So one page view can hit 4 or 5 different billing meters simultaneously. Try predicting that monthly costs as a small business owner. You can't. Now, here's the thing. Cloudflare does offer some mitigations. You can set CPU time limits per individual request. You can configure rate limiting through WAF rules, but rate limiting is per API, not a global request cap. A distributed bot attack from thousands of different APIs goes right through it, and CPU limits only control how long each request runs, not how many requests you can get billed for. Think about who EmDash is targeting. Bloggers, small publishers, people migrating from WordPress because they heard it's insecure. These are not people who are going to configure WAF rules and monitor Cloudflare dashboards daily. They want to publish content and not think about infrastructure. EmDash gives them the exact opposite. Now, the second thing that really bothers me. Cloudflare is marketing EmDash as a free open source MIT license CMS. And technically, yeah, the code is on GitHub. You can fork it, read it, run it locally. But the moment you try to actually deploy it to Cloudflare, which is where it's designed to run, you hit a wall. The headline features of EmDash is Sandboxed plugins. That's the entire pitch. WordPress plugins are insecure because they have full database access, blah blah blah. EmDash sandboxes every plugin in its own isolated environment. Sounds incredible, except that sandboxing requires something called dynamic workers, and dynamic workers require the Cloudflare Workers paid plan. If you try to deploy on the free tier, you get error code 10195. Switch to a paid plan. So, let's be honest about what free and open source actually means here. The code is free. The feature that makes it work using is not. It's like selling a car for free, but the engine is a monthly subscription. So yeah. And it gets worse if you self-host. Cloudflare says you can run EmDash on any Node.js server. Your own hardware, AWS, wherever you want. But when you self-host, there is currently no support for sandboxed plugins at all. The only feature they're using to differentiate from WordPress just disappears completely. You are left running a brand new CMS with 0 plugins and no security advantage over WordPress at all. At that point, what exactly is the value proposition here? I don't get it. Even on the free Cloudflare tier, plugins run in what they call in-process mode, which means no sandbox, no isolation. So even on Cloudflare, if you are not paying, you don't get the thing they are advertising. The real picture is simple. EmDash is free if you want a hobbled version that works at WordPress in every way. every way. The actual product requires paid Cloudflare infrastructure. And all this connects directly to the vendor locking problem, which I think is the most underrated issue here. So the creator of WordPress wrote a detailed response to EmDash, and he said something that really struck with me. He said EmDash was created to sell more Cloudflare services, and I agree with it. If you will adopt it, you kind of will have a very hard time to switch. When you look at the architecture, he's completely right. Every EmDash site on Cloudflare use at minimum five Cloudflare products. Workers for compute, D1 for the database, R1 for media storage, KV for sessions, and additionally Workers AI. Each one is a separate billing line, and none of them are predictable portable. You can't take a D1 database and move it to AWS. You can't migrate R2 buckets to Azure without rewriting your entire storage layer. You just can't. You can't replicate the worker isolate sandbox anywhere else at all. The code is MIT license, yeah, but the runtime that powers every meaningful feature is proprietary Cloudflare infrastructure. Contrast that with WordPress. You can host it on $5 virtual private server in, I don't know. You can move it to AWS. You can run it on Raspberry Pi. Same code, same functionality, anywhere. That portability is the actual spirit of WordPress, and EmDash doesn't have it, despite claiming to be the spiritual successor. Like, come on. Now let's talk about what you are actually getting if you adopt EmDash today. It's version 0.1. It's not even 1.0 release. 89 commits on GitHub. Built in 2 months using AI coding agents. No plugin marketplace. No Zim ecosystem. No hosting partners outside Cloudflare. No agency tooling. No training programs. No freelance community. There is like nothing. Compare that to WordPress. 60,000 plugins. 20 plus years of pedal testing. Millions of developers, literally millions. Hosting supports by literally every provider on the planet. One reviewer summed it up perfectly. Better architecture in beta with zero ecosystem. Doesn't beat good enough with 60,000 plugins and 20 years of beta testing. So for any real businesses, a decision is very clear. Let's talk about migration. EmDash has a WordPress migration tool, but it only imports content. Posts, pages, media, that's all. It doesn't migrate your plugins, your theme, your custom functionality, your WooCommerce store, your membership system, your forms, your SEO configuration, like nothing. All of that you are rebuilding from scratch. Do you want to do that? I don't know, up to you. And here is the technical detail that makes migration even harder. WordPress stores content as HTML. EmDash uses something called portable text, which is structured JSON. So it's not a simple database export and import. You are converting between fundamentally different content formats. For any site with custom blocks, advanced layouts, or complex content structures, that's a serious engineering project. The register actually tested the beta and ran into bugs immediately. Passkey authentication didn't work on the Linux setup if you use a Linux, and the magic link fallback returned a page not found error. This is not a production software. Cloudflare is asking people to consider migrating their businesses to a 2-month-old beta with no ecosystem and known authentication bugs. Like, come on, guys. So after all of this, who is EmDash actually for? And I think the honest answer right now is almost nobody. If you're a small business owner, a blogger, a freelancer, you need a CMS with a predictable cost, a massive plugin ecosystem, and zero infrastructure headache. That's WordPress. EmDash gives you unpredictable serverless billing with no spending cut, zero plugins, and the need to understand Cloudflare's entire production suite just to run a website. If you're an agency building client sites, you need something reliable, portable, and backed by a community of developers you can actually hire. EmDash has none of that. Your client site would be locked into Cloudflare infrastructure with no realistic exit strategy. If you are a developer who loves TypeScript and Astra and want to experiment, yeah, sure. EmDash is an interesting project. Play with it, watch it evolve, but don't put a client's business on it. Don't put your own business on it. Now, I will give Cloudflare credit where it's due. The architecture is genuinely smart. The plugin sandboxing model is real innovation. This serverless approach could genuinely be the future of how CMSs will work. And the fact that it's open source under MIT is better than a lot of proprietary alternatives out there. In 12 to 18 months, if they build a real ecosystem, solve the billing protection problem, and get a stable version number 1 release, this could absolutely be worth revisiting. But right now, maintain your WordPress site properly. That's all. Keep your plugin updated, run backups, use a decent host, run a security scanner. Those 4 things eliminate the practical risk of EmDash was architecturally built to solve. And don't trade a predictable $20 hosting bill for a mystery bill with no ceiling. If this breakdown was useful, hit subscribe. I do deep dives in search engine optimization, web tech, marketing, and tools that actually matter for building online businesses. Drop a comment if you tested EmDash yourself or if you have questions. I'll see you in the next one.